as the wheel turns, so do the days of our rides. The soap opera of our industry and everything that's basically like not racer news, not product release news, by basically how the state of mom and pop bike shops to mid-sized bike shops, as well as the industry where we get all those great brands and products from, and how kind of state of the state it is and how we're kind of navigating through all that. So Canyon, and if you don't know Canyon cycles or Canyon bikes, they're a direct consumer company, and they've been shipping direct to the bikes of all kinds of road, mountain, gravel to a lot of different markets. The main one starting off was in Europe, and the Europe market, this is the latest article piece that's still posted from the 28th. And if you don't know Canyons, they homed in the ability of shipping direct to the customer's house and scared the pants off of Trek and Specialized back in the day, because they were not doing that at that time, and they were bringing in price points a little bit cheaper than them, as well as good quality, and it's a German-based company. The original guy, the founder, Roman Arnold, was basically returning to Canyon as the CEO. And how I see this is, it's interesting, but not too, I want to say it's too off cuff. We've seen a lot of companies in the last couple of years, the CEOs have stepped down or they switched out. A lot of companies, original owners have bottomed back or moved back in. Kona is one. That was a big old, about a year or two ago, big old soap opera about that. But in any case, there's been a couple, switcheroos, and people buying back or coming back to their companies. Revel. That was another one. It was a Colorado-based one where the owner came back and revamped the company, and they're trying to redo it. Well, in any case, this particular article is kind of just the show of the state of the state. The real details of it may not be really known, but my opinion would be is like, well, they had a 5% decrease, which is pretty not bad compared to some other companies right now, and going through that. So when you're looking at that piece of it, the CEO moving back into the company, basically he's not able to pull his salary or parachute salary anymore, and the company's in trouble. So it needs to kind of streamline. Any state of change, economics, in the United States or globally, there's disruption, and disruption either in stocks or what have you. And we'll talk about another company here in a second that's driven by stocks or has stocks in the United States market. If a company has bad turn on their stock market rev, it doesn't show good. Therefore, to help boost the confidence of their stockholders, they lay off people or do some pretty big changes. It's kind of like a oh crap lever for them. Well, this is more of the same. It might be some other pieces to the details of this per se, but it's pretty par for the course. And Canyon, they're pretty big volume, and they've been shipping in the United States for several years now, and developed partnerships with REI for warranties and service and that. And they've had some shops totally hate them, will not work on the bikes, and you have some shops are like working with Canyon to take care of any recalls, like any other big business recalls and so forth. That's one of the things that we've been seeing changing. What I see out of this is kind of things are shaking down, like the big companies are being shaken down by the big T word, and in the disruption of the already volatile market prior to this last 6 months of disruption. So, and unfortunately, and I'm sorry, to those outside of the United States, that we're totally mucking up your markets as well as our own. So, apologize. Dick's Sporting Goods is in the headlines again. Dick's Sporting Goods is a traded on stock company They are a chain store in the United States. If you heard Sports Authority, Dick's was the same kind of thing. They're one of the leaders up there. With Shields is another one, which is big in the United States. Dick's have kind of slid in when Sports Authority went down, and they've kind of did a little better of sporting goods in general. And why is this in Brain? Well, they carry bikes, which a lot of sporting good chains do. And if they carry bikes, they get put in here. But they also carry bikes from one of the major manufacturers or companies that make bikes, which is Pond Holdings. And if you haven't heard Pond Holdings, I have a video in my library. Look it up. Pond Holdings. Who are they? They own like 50 different companies within the cycling realm, and have shrunk that down a little bit recently and did some pretty good changes. But they carry Cannondale, Cervelo, used to be GT, but they can that line, Santa Cruz, be the headliners. Then they also carry Schwinn, Mongoose, and some other department store lines. So they've been shuffling the deck with a lot of different companies, also to shuffle those decks to sell to a lot of different sporting good chains to bike shops. And actual Dick's Sporting Goods having a second good quarter. They've had several good quarters during this whole disruptive time. This is 5% up and 8% in revenue increase or something of that nature. That is spectacular. Reason being is they're showing somebody's doing something and people are buying the products, and it's not all Walmart or Target, and even though Target's having a hard time, and also Pond Holdings sells to Target and Walmart. That's where, the positive light. Dick's Sporting Goods has had a couple good quarters. A few, like about a year ago when COVID was hitting, after the big slump after COVID, Canyon was having some decent numbers that were being reported. So, hey, I mean, some companies can do okay, or are doing okay. So it's not total doom and gloom, but I would say it's not the best for sure. And I kind of know this company in the sense that when I was working at Lee's Cyclery, it was a scenario where we would buy products from this company. I believe it's called the Accell Group. So yeah, the Accell Group closing a Dutch factory. So again, this is going one of those big shifts. Even if it's tariff related or what have you, and unfortunately by the first quarter they're going to lose 160 jobs there, and changing their particular manufacturing to other places. And again, I think Canyon did that, and a couple others have done the same thing recently in the last year. And then they have numbers of deductions and all that. The brands that they carry currently, some of these I don't recognize, but Ghost is one, Le Pire is another, and I was like, oh, that's where Raleigh went. Raleigh used to be a huge name in the 70s and the 80s. They were one of the main European competitors to Schwinn. Raleigh, that's a big thing. So therefore, that's another, Canyon, Accell Group. These are the European market, and other markets are having, the companies are having some serious issues. What does that mean for us? Well, what that means for us is we haven't heard anything from the big boys in the United States companies, but for the main part, but they're not. It's not easy for any of them, and some things are going to be changing. And through my buddy John Bradley, like, this is so disruptive right now. Something's going to happen to one of them, pretty drastically. Either get bought, sold, go under, because it's very volatile right now. It depends how deep pockets and investors are still around and feel confident they're going to wade through this disruption. But in any case, that's what we're kind of faced with for sure.